You wake up and you're already losing. Before your feet even touch the ground, your phone has claimed your mind. Eyes glazed, dopamine hits. Scroll, swipe, number. You're not awake, you're sedated. And every day you repeat the ritual. You die a little more inside. The world has broken you into fragments. You can't focus, you can't feel, you can't fight, and you've convinced yourself it's just fatigue. It's not. You're not tired, you're distracted, your soul is starving. Not for more content, but for clarity. You don't need more comfort, you need combat, you need war, inner war. Because this video, this isn't some productivity hack, this is a death sentence for your weakness. We're not here to manage distraction, we're here to murder it, with 10 ruthless Stoic habits, forged in silence, sharpened in fire. The same kind of habits Marcus Aurelius used to lead armies with a calm mind and a steel soul. But before that, you need to face yourself. Look in the mirror. You versus you. No one's coming. No one's saving you. Kill distraction or be killed by it. The choice is now. This video isn't for everyone. Most will click away. Most will go back to scrolling. Most will lose. Again. But you're not most men. If you're done being a slave to distraction, if you're ready to rebuild your mind with fire and discipline, then declare it. Right now, in the comments. I choose discipline over dopamine. Write it like a contract, with yourself, with your future. And if you're one of the few with the guts to walk this path, subscribe, not for motivation, for battle plans, for the cold truth, for the ruthless path back to power. This channel is your armory, your forge, where weakness dies and Stoic men are made. So gear up, because we're not done yet. We're just getting started. You weren't born weak, you were made weak, systematically. Every application, every notification, every artificial dopamine hit, engineered to steal your focus, hijack your mind, chain your will. And it worked. Now you can't sit in silence for 5 seconds without reaching for a screen. You can't hold a thought, can't finish a book, can't go to war with yourself. You're drowning in comfort and calling it life. That's not life. That's a digital coma. They told you distraction was just part of modern living. Number distraction is spiritual decay. It's the erosion of your masculine edge. It's the quiet killer of discipline, purpose, power. The Stoics warned us. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." But you're not the master right now. You're the slave. Your emotions command you. Your urges control you. Your phone owns you. And the worst part, you know it. You feel the fire inside dying. You feel your strength leaking out, day after day. Scroll after scroll. This isn't about productivity. This isn't about time management. This is about war. A war inside your mind, where the battlefield is silence and the enemy is distraction. Marcus Aurelius led armies with a calm mind in the middle of chaos. He journaled, not to feel better, but to sharpen his soul. He chose cold logic over emotion, silence over noise, discipline over comfort. That's what you've lost, but you can take it back if you're ready to suffer for it. Because this path is not easy, it's not warm, it's not soft. It's a cold, ruthless return to the part of you that was built to lead, to fight, to rise. This video will give you 10 Stoic habits that kill distraction with brutality. Not suggestions, not hacks, weapons. Each habit is forged in fire, pulled straight from the minds of ancient warrior philosophers. You'll learn how to destroy comfort, reclaim your time, control your urges, silence your mind, and walk through chaos untouched. But don't misunderstand. This video will not save you. You will. If you're looking for quick fixes, go scroll TikTok. If you're ready to become the kind of man who can sit in silence, stare into his own soul, and not flinch, then stay. Because the habits you're about to learn, they won't just kill distraction. They'll resurrect the warrior inside you. Let's begin. You think silence is boring. You think silence is empty. But the truth is, silence is a weapon, and you've forgotten how to use it. From the second you wake up, noise attacks, notifications, alarms, voices, content, advertisements. It's not just sound, it's mental clutter, it's poison. And you drink it willingly. You start your day by plugging into the machine, instead of plugging into yourself. Your brain isn't yours anymore. It's outsourced to algorithms. You've trained your mind to be reactive, impulsive, addicted to stimulation. And you wonder why you can't focus. You wonder why you feel anxious. You wonder why you feel like a man without a spine. Here's the truth no one tells you. Distraction is not random. It is designed, and it survives in one condition: noise. Noise is the fertilizer of weakness. It keeps your thoughts chaotic, your soul scattered, your purpose buried under garbage. The Stoics knew this. They lived in empires, led armies, walked through chaos, but they still made time for silence. Because they understood one truth: only in silence can you hear your real thoughts. Only in silence can you face what you've been running from. Only in silence do the ghosts rise, and only warriors confront them. Seneca once said, "As long as you are ignorant of what to avoid and what to seek, you will be distracted." Let that sink in. You're distracted because you don't know what actually matters. You don't know because you've never stopped long enough to ask. You've never shut the noise off long enough to hear your soul speak. Every scroll, every playlist, every show, a shield, not from the world, but from yourself. But here's the truth. You don't need more input. You need an exorcism. You need a purge, a reset, a return to silence. So what does a Stoic man do? He starts his day in voluntary silence. Not because it's trendy, not because it's aesthetic, but because it's war. The first 30 minutes of your day define your entire mindset. Most men lose before they even brush their teeth. They grab their phone, scroll through meaninglessness, and surrender their mind to chaos before the sun rises. You're not starting the day, you're surviving it. A Stoic? He begins with nothing. Just stillness. Just breathe. Just the battlefield of thought. Before the world speaks to him, he listens to himself. This isn't meditation. This is reconnaissance. This is sharpening your mental blade before stepping into war. Here's what you do. Tomorrow morning, you wake up, and you don't touch your phone. You don't reach for anything external. You sit, you breathe, you listen. 10 minutes. No sound, no movement, no distractions. Just you and the storm inside your mind. What will you hear? You'll hear the cravings, the lies, the guilt, the chaos you've buried with entertainment and comfort. And that's the point. Because to become strong, you must first face your weakness. And to hear your weakness, you must cut the noise. You will be tempted. Your hand will twitch toward your phone. Your mind will scream for stimulation. That is your addiction being exposed. That is your weakness panicking. That is the little boy inside you begging for comfort. Ignore him. Let him suffer. The man you want to become, the one with steel in his eyes and silence in his soul, doesn't feed on noise. He feeds on clarity. You'll start to notice something after a few days. You become calmer, more focused. You think deeper. Your emotions no longer own you. Why? Because silence is not empty. Silence is full of answers. And when you stop feeding your brain garbage, it starts remembering who it really is. Distraction is the death of identity. Silence is where identity is forged. In silence, you will remember your purpose. In silence, you will see your flaws. In silence, you will feel the fire that distraction buried. This is the space where the Stoic mind is built. not in noise, but in stillness. Let's go deeper. When you start embracing silence, your mind will rebel. It will throw tantrums. It will beg for noise. Why? Because silence is painful. At first, it strips you naked. It removes the shields. It exposes how lost you've really become. But pain is the price of awakening. And if you're not willing to suffer through silence, you'll suffer forever through distraction. You must learn to sit in the fire, without flinching, without running, without reaching for artificial peace. That's what Stoic warriors did. They stared into themselves and did not blink, because silence was their forge. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." You hear that? The world is chaos. Your soul must be your fortress. But how can your soul be a fortress if you've never visited it? If you've never sat inside it, with no noise, no numbing, no distraction? Start visiting it daily. Make silence a ritual, a holy ground where only the truth survives. You don't need an app. You don't need a mantra. You need willpower. You need fire. You need to kill the addiction by starving it. Do this every morning. 10 minutes of pure silence. Sit with your thoughts. Let the shame surface. Let the doubt scream. Let the weakness tremble. And then rise, cold, focused, reborn. The man who can sit in silence without fear. The man who can watch his own mind without judgment. The man who doesn't flinch when the noise dies. That man cannot be broken. This is the first habit, simple but brutal. And if done right, it will transform everything. Because the moment you reclaim silence, you reclaim sovereignty. You stop reacting. You start ruling. Most men can't sit alone in a room for 10 minutes because their mind is their enemy. They fear what they'll find in the silence. But a Stoic? He walks into that room like a general walks into war, calm, ready, unshaken. Because in silence, he's already conquered the hardest enemy of all, himself. Your mission. For the next 7 mornings, sit in silence for 10 minutes. No phone, no sounds, no inputs, just you and your mind. Face it, don't journal, don't distract. Just listen. Every time you feel the urge to break, remind yourself, this is the moment I win. You don't need more noise. You need the courage to sit in stillness. Distraction dies in silence. And in that silence, you will rise. You talk too much. You speak your goals like spells. Thinking words alone will conjure results. You post your plans. You announce your intentions. You chase applause for promises you haven't earned. You want to feel progress without actually making it. That's not ambition. That's weakness wearing the mask of purpose. And it's killing you. Every time you tell the world what you're going to do, you give away your fire, you leak momentum, you feed your ego instead of feeding your mission. The Stoics understood this. They didn't declare. They didn't boast. They moved in silence. They became the thing, without asking for recognition. Marcus Aurelius said it best. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In other words, shut up and work. Here's what no one tells you. Talking about your goals triggers a reward response in your brain. You feel good when you say, I'm going to start a business. You feel motivated when you post, I'm going to hit the gym every day. You get validation, likes, nods, support. But your mind can't tell the difference. It thinks you've already done something. So the drive fades, the urgency dies, the mission weakens, and before you know it, another promise ends up in the graveyard of your potential. Silence is power, because silence protects your fire. Think about the strongest men in history. Warriors, philosophers, kings, generals. They didn't broadcast their every move. They planned, they prepared, they executed, without announcement. Because power doesn't yell. Power doesn't post. Power just moves. You've been trained by a culture that worships exposure. Build in public. Share your goals. Tell everyone so they hold you accountable. Number, you don't need an audience to keep you disciplined. You need a backbone. Every man who rises from weakness to strength does it alone, in the dark, without applause. Because true transformation is ugly, it's quiet, it's bloody, it's personal. Here's what moving in silence actually looks like. You write your goals, but keep them to yourself. You train without posting progress pics. You work without telling people what you're building. You build a fortress, not a stage. Your results become your announcement. Your character becomes your proof. Your discipline becomes your voice. That's stoicism. That's strength. Because when no one's watching, no one's clapping, no one's validating, and you still show up, that's when you know you're becoming unstoppable. Let me be blunt. The more you talk, the less you do. The more you seek applause, the more you depend on others. The more you crave being seen, the more you fear being forgotten. And a man who fears being forgotten will never be remembered. You're not here to impress. You're here to dominate, to become so disciplined, so focused, so dangerous, that people feel it when you enter a room, even if they don't know your name. Because the real ones, they don't announce their goals. They bury them deep, water them daily, and let the results bloom like fire from stone. Let me give you an image. Two men enter a room. One talks about what he's building. His voice is loud. His plans are big. He feeds on attention. He needs it. The other says nothing. He listens. He watches. He moves like a shadow with a sword in his hand. Which one do you fear? Which one do you respect? Exactly. Silence is magnetic. It's threatening. It's powerful. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop seeking approval, when you stop narrating your journey, you become unpredictable. And unpredictable men are dangerous. Let's bring it back to you. You want to level up. You want discipline, focus, fire. But you keep leaking your power through your mouth. Every time you tell people what you're going to do, you're asking for permission. You're seeking validation instead of domination. You're inviting weakness to the table. Close the door. Kill the spotlight. Let the work be the only thing that speaks. Some of you are afraid to go silent because you're afraid to be forgotten. You think your identity comes from being seen. That's a lie. Your identity comes from what you build in silence. Your legacy comes from what you do when nobody claps. Your power comes from the storms you endure alone. Stop confusing visibility with value. Stop thinking exposure equals importance. A lion doesn't announce the kill, it just kills. You know why Stoic men were respected? Because they didn't perform. They lived with intention. Every action was rooted in virtue. Every move was backed by purpose. They didn't need the crowd. They needed clarity. Seneca didn't flex. Marcus Aurelius didn't post updates. Epictetus didn't shout, "Look at me." They simply became unshakable. Through daily, private, unrelenting self-mastery. Here's your mission. For the next 30 days, speak 0 goals aloud. Tell no one what you're working on. Reject the need to be seen. Let your actions grow in silence, like roots beneath the ground. When the results come, say nothing. Let your life be so disciplined that people feel the shift in your presence. And when they ask how you did it, look them in the eye and say nothing. Just nod and keep moving. Let me remind you, you don't need cheerleaders. You don't need applause. You need war. You need silence. You need to be so obsessed with growth that you forget to tell the world what you're becoming. Because men who build in silence don't just win. They crush the ones who talk. When you shut your mouth and double your output, the world takes notice. Not because you told them, but because you became undeniable. So stop talking, start executing, build in darkness, emerge like thunder, Move in silence. Let the weak seek approval. Let the strong build legacies. And you were born for fire. Let it burn, silently. Your day doesn't begin when you open your eyes. It begins the moment you decide who's in control, you or the world. Most men lose that battle before they even leave the bed. They roll over, reach for their phone, flood their brain with noise, opinions, fake dopamine, and chaos. Before they've even spoken a word, they've surrendered their focus, surrendered their peace, surrendered their fire. And then they wonder why they feel behind, why they can't focus, why the entire day feels like a war they didn't prepare for. Here's the brutal truth. If you lose the first hour, you lose the war. You're not tired, you're undisciplined. You're not overwhelmed, you're untrained. Your first hour isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be sacred. Because that hour isn't just about getting ready. It's about getting ruthless. Sharpening the blade. Forging the armor. Preparing your mind for a world that wants to own it. Marcus Aurelius didn't check his notifications when he woke up. He wrote. He reflected. He reminded himself that he was mortal and that his job was to be a man of action, not reaction. In his meditations, he wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work. As a human being." He didn't say, check your feed. He didn't say, hit snooze. He said, rise and do your duty. Because every day you rise with intention, you reclaim your identity. Every day you start with chaos, you give your life away before it even begins. So what does it look like to win the first hour? Not theory, not hacks, a warrior's ritual. Here's the foundation of a Stoic morning. Wake before the world enters silence. No phone, no input, just breath. Move your body. With intensity and intent, write. Even one sentence that grounds your mind. Face your mission. Define your war before the day defines you. Let's break it down. 1. Wake before the world. You need to beat the sun. Why? Because the world is quiet. There are no demands, no chaos yet. Just you. And the opportunity to choose discipline over delay. Wake at 5 a.m. or earlier. This isn't romantic, it's strategic. It's where you gain time the weak men lose. Every early hour is a deposit into your mental strength bank. You're not just waking up earlier, you're taking back territory from your enemy. And that enemy is comfort. 2. Enter silence. Before you move, before you scroll, before you think, be still. Let the silence greet you. Let your breath become your anchor. Let your mind prepare for the battlefield ahead. Even 5 minutes of silence can recalibrate your entire nervous system. This isn't spiritual fluff. This is mental armor. In silence, you hear your mission. You recognize your weaknesses. You prepare for war with clarity. Don't let someone else's voice be the first thing you hear. Let it be your own. 3. Move your body. Your mind follows your body. If your body stays limp and lazy in the morning, your thoughts will follow. If your blood doesn't move, your discipline won't either. So train hard, fast, focused, push-ups, sprints, weights, cold showers. It doesn't matter what. It matters that you command your body first thing. This tells your mind, I am in charge. Movement isn't optional. It's the spark of Stoic fire. 4. Write with intention. Yes, write. 1 sentence. 2. A full page if needed. What do you fear? What will you do today to confront it? Where did you fail yesterday? And what will you do better today? This is how Marcus Aurelius began his day. Not with I feel good mantras, but with raw reflection. He wrote his weaknesses down. He wrote his battles. He sharpened his mind through ink and thought. If you don't write your intention, you'll be ruled by distraction. 5. Define your mission before the world gets a piece of you. Define your objective. Don't let your day happen. Command it. Ask yourself, what am I building today? What will I conquer? What demons will I destroy? If you don't have a mission, your day becomes noise. You become a leaf in the wind, a servant to other people's urgency. The Stoic man doesn't live like that. He's not a responder, he's a commander. Here's the truth. Your phone is not the enemy. Your habits are. If the first thing you do is look at messages, you've just told your brain, other people are more important than my purpose. If you open social media, you've just told your brain, dopamine is more important than discipline. If you hit snooze, you've told your brain, comfort is more important than my future. What do you think that does to your identity? It erodes it, bit by bit, morning by morning. Discipline starts in the dark, when no one's clapping, when no one sees, when no reward is given. That's where warriors are born. You think a Stoic becomes strong by reading quotes? Number, he becomes strong by waking up before the world, facing his inner chaos, writing it out, training through it, and walking into the day with cold fire in his soul. That's how kings are made. Let's be honest, you're not tired, you're undirected. You don't need another hour of sleep. You need a reason to get up, and your reason isn't found in your phone. It's found in your discipline. Every morning you dominate, you train your mind to follow your command. Every time you cave to comfort, you become a little more fragile. Stop blaming your schedule. Stop blaming the system. Start owning the first hour, because if you can't win that, you won't win anything. Your mission. For the next 7 days, wake up before 6 a.m. No phone for the first 30 minutes. Begin with 5 minutes of silence. Move your body for 10 to 20 minutes. Write one honest sentence about your fear or focus. Declare your mission for the day. That's it. Do this and watch your identity change. Watch your confidence rise. Watch your clarity sharpen. Watch your distractions lose their grip, because the man who wins the morning owns the world. This isn't about productivity. It's about power. This is about becoming a weapon, forged in silence, trained in movement, and focused with ruthless intent. The average man wakes up soft and chaotic. You rise like a warrior preparing for battle. No noise, no weakness, no hesitation, just fire. Because the first hour of your day is your throne. Sit on it, or someone else will. Comfort is a lie. It whispers, you deserve rest. It says, you've earned ease. It seduces you with warmth, convenience, softness. And while you sleep on pillows of pleasure, your power dies in silence. Comfort doesn't strike like a sword. It creeps in like fog. It weakens you in small moments. It makes you passive. It softens your edge. Until one day, you wake up and you don't recognize the man in the mirror. Not because he failed, but because he never truly tried. Let's be clear. You're not here to be comfortable. You're here to be capable. You're here to be dangerous. In control of yourself, not owned by softness. And there's only one way to build that kind of man. Do one hard thing every day. Not when it's convenient. Not when you feel like it. Every day. On purpose. Because the only way to kill comfort is to invite discomfort. Ruthlessly, repeatedly, voluntarily. Epictetus once said, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because true growth, true strength, happens when you step outside the world's approval. When you walk into discomfort while others run from it. When you look pain in the face and say, let's go. That's the Stoic path. Not ease, not pleasure, but trial, test, fire. Here's the reality. The modern man is drowning in comfort. He has air conditioning when it's hot. He has food delivered when he's hungry. He has content on demand, pleasure on tap, convenience in every corner of his life. And as the world got easier, he got weaker. Because strength only grows when it's required, and comfort requires nothing. You don't become a warrior by avoiding pain. You become one by chasing it, deliberately. So here's the rule. Every single day, do something that makes you uncomfortable. Physically, mentally, emotionally. It doesn't have to be dramatic. But it has to cost you something. Wake up before dawn, take a cold shower. Train when your body says no. Fast when your stomach says yes. Say no when people expect yes. Sit in silence when you crave distraction. Speak your truth when it's easier to stay quiet. These are not tasks. These are battles. And every time you win one, you chip away at the part of you that still bows to comfort. Think of comfort like an enemy fortress. Every day you do the easy thing, the walls grow higher. Every time you avoid resistance, the guards grow stronger, and eventually, you won't just be near comfort. You'll be trapped in it. But when you do the hard thing, you swing a hammer, you break the gates, you storm the fortress, and burn it from the inside out. That's what discomfort does. It frees you. It reminds your body and your mind. We answer to no one, not even our own weakness. Let me be direct. You're soft because you allow yourself to be. You delay pain because you've been conditioned to believe it's harmful. But pain isn't harmful. It's holy. Pain is the birthplace of power. Pain is the gateway to self-respect. Pain is how you earn the right to hold your head high in silence. When life hits hard, and it will, the man who has trained himself in discomfort will not break. He's already suffered by choice. He's already bent, but never snapped. He's already stared into the cold and said, I don't need comfort. I am comfortless, and I am fine. You know what separates the man who wins from the man who watches? The man who wins is willing to suffer first, before the pressure comes, before the crisis hits, before the storm arrives. He trains. He breaks himself, so the world can't. That's stoicism in its purest form, not detached from suffering, but inviting it to become untouchable. Here's what happens when you do one hard thing every day. Your tolerance grows. What used to terrify you becomes normal. What used to shake you becomes routine. You build a mind that can walk through fire without flinching. Not because the world got easier, but because you got harder. And you don't need motivation. You need momentum. Each hard task you conquer becomes proof. Proof that you are not your comfort. Proof that you are your choices, not your cravings. Comfort is a prison with velvet walls. It feels nice. It looks good. But it holds you back from every version of yourself you dream of becoming. You want to become the man you see in your mind? Kill comfort. You want to earn the strength, the clarity, the calmness that Stoic men live by? Do what hurts. Every single day. Let the pain burn away the parts of you that are still soft. Let me give you something simple. 7 days, 7 discomforts. Day 1, wake up at 5 a.m. Day 2, take a 3-minute cold shower. Day 3, fast for 18 hours. Day 4, train until failure, physically and mentally. Day 5, speak a truth you've been avoiding. Day 6, sit in silence for 30 minutes. Day 7, give up something you love for the day. Phone, sugar, comfort, anything, do it. Not for results. For respect. From the only man who matters, yourself. And remember this, you don't need the world to be hard on you. You just need to stop being soft on yourself. You want Stoic strength? Then stop negotiating with weakness. Stop flirting with excuses. Stop living like you have time. Create your own suffering. Forge your own path. Train your mind to run toward what others avoid. Because when the real hardship comes, you won't need to rise to the occasion. You'll already be standing. Discipline is built in discomfort. Honor is built in discomfort. Purpose is revealed in discomfort. And the man who seeks one hard thing every day will become a man who fears nothing. You're not broken. You're overstimulated. Your mind isn't weak. It's drowning. Every scroll, every swipe, every buzz, every sugary bite, every dopamine drip, it's rewiring your brain to seek pleasure and avoid power. You've trained yourself to chase the quick hit, not the long fight, to choose escape over endurance, to crave noise and run from silence. This chapter is not about motivation. This is a detox, a purge, a ritual to kill your addiction and reclaim your mental sovereignty. This is your 7-day war with dopamine. Let's start with the truth. Your brain has become a slave to reels, to porn, to junk food, to gossip, to mindless scrolling, to instant likes, instant laughs, instant anything. You reach for stimulation like a drug addict reaching for a fix. You crave relief, not results. Comfort, not clarity. And slowly, it's cost you everything. Your focus, your masculinity, your edge, your fire. Because dopamine doesn't just steal your time, it steals your discipline. Look at your day. You check your phone before you breathe. You scroll through strangers before you speak to your soul. You hit play, tap, skip, fast forward, just to avoid 5 seconds of boredom. You eat when you're not hungry. You watch when you're not learning. You scroll when you're not moving forward. And you wonder why you feel numb, why you feel stuck, why your life feels blurry. Your brain is overstimulated and undertrained. You've fed it garbage for so long, it can't even recognize real hunger anymore. Now hear me clearly. Dopamine is not the enemy. It's how you get it. Your brain is built for dopamine, earned from effort, growth, pain, triumph. The dopamine you feel after a hard workout, that's earned. After deep work, earned. After brutal honesty, facing your fear, sharpening your mind, earned. But scrolling through artificial dopamine 100 times a day, that's not reward, that's robbery. And every time you accept it, you trade your strength for sedation. The Stoics knew this. They practiced voluntary denial, not because they were miserable, but because they were powerful. Seneca fasted. Epictetus lived in poverty by choice. Marcus Aurelius stripped life down to its essentials. Not to suffer, but to see clearly. When you remove the noise, you hear your own thoughts again. When you sit in boredom, you see who you really are. When you take away artificial pleasure, your real pain rises to the surface, and that pain is your compass. It's telling you where the work is. So here's your challenge. Take a 7-day dopamine fast. Not from life, from lies, not from joy, from junk. Cut the poison. Cut the noise. Cut the easy pleasure that's been draining you for years. Here's the rule. For 7 days, no social media, no porn, no processed sugar, no mindless entertainment, Netflix, YouTube shorts, etc. No gossip or useless conversation, no background noise, no comfort scrolling. This is not punishment. This is cleansing. It's sharpening your senses again. It's reminding your brain what real reward feels like. Effort, presence, purpose. You will suffer. Day 1, your hands will twitch for your phone. Your body will crave sugar. Your brain will scream for stimulation. Let it. That's your addiction dying. That's weakness gasping for air. And you holding the pillow over its face. Boredom will feel like death. Stillness will feel like failure. But lean in, push through, stay with it. Because on the other side, your fire returns. What happens during a dopamine fast? You start to think again. Not reactive thoughts, real thoughts, deep thoughts, clear thoughts. Your memory improves. Your emotions stabilize. Your confidence returns. Your drive, your primal hunger, comes back online. Suddenly, hard things feel less hard. Suddenly, silence doesn't scare you. Suddenly, your mind feels like a weapon again, because you stopped feeding it garbage. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you sat in silence for an hour? No phone, no music, no food. Just you and your thoughts. Most men can't do it. They're not scared of failure, they're scared of stillness. Because in stillness, the truth rises. The guilt, the regret, the chaos they've buried under dopamine, that's what this fast will bring up. Your shadows, your wounds, your unmet potential. Good. Because you can't fix what you refuse to face. Now understand, this is not about perfection. You will mess up, you will crave, you will slip. But when you do, don't collapse. Don't start over. Get back in the fire. Because the man who resets his mind resets his life, and this fast is your reset. Let me be clear, you don't need more apps. You don't need more advice. You don't need more stimulation. You need less. Less distraction, less reaction, less fake pleasure, more space, more silence, more challenge. Here's how to do it practically. Start tomorrow morning and commit for 7 full days. Delete social apps. Remove the option to fail. Plan your days so your mind isn't empty and desperate. Fill the gaps with hard things. Reading, training, deep work, writing, walking. Embrace the withdrawal. Your pain is the purge. Reflect nightly. Journal how your mind is changing. Return with standards. Only bring back what serves your mission. And when it's done, you'll never want to go back. Because you'll realize something powerful. You don't need fake pleasure. You don't need constant stimulation. You don't need cheap validation. You need discipline. You need presence. You need a mind that you own, not one owned by addiction. You will look around and see others still stuck in the matrix, still numbing themselves, still chasing another hit. And you'll walk through it all in silence, untouchable, unshaken, rebuilt. The mind that craves nothing is the strongest mind of all. You think journaling is soft. You think it's for poets, therapists, and broken hearts. You couldn't be more wrong. Journaling is a weapon, a blade of the mind, forged in truth, sharpened in silence. And if you don't use it, you're fighting blind. Marcus Aurelius didn't journal to feel better. He journaled to be better. He wrote to confront his flaws, to challenge his thoughts, to remind himself of his duty, his death, his discipline. His meditations weren't meant for the world. They were private battles, daily confrontations, mental training grounds. Because the mind of a Stoic warrior isn't built through hype, it's built through honest reflection. If you're not journaling, you're not growing, you're just reacting. Stumbling through your days, repeating your failures, avoiding your patterns, because you don't know yourself. And if you don't know yourself, you will be ruled by yourself, your emotions, your habits, your distractions, your ego. Journaling is how you flip the mirror, how you put your mind on the table and dissect it like a surgeon. Let me be clear. This isn't about feelings. This isn't about what made me happy today. This is war. Daily journaling, Stoic style, is about self-interrogation. No fluff, no filter, no lies. It's where you ask yourself the questions that make your stomach twist, where you stare your weakness in the face and refuse to blink. You don't journal for comfort. You journal for clarity. You journal to expose the enemy within. Because every day you're being pulled by laziness, by distraction, by impulses. And if you're not documenting the fight, you're losing it. Here's the brutal truth. Most men repeat the same week 52 times and call it a year. Why? Because they don't reflect, they don't review, they don't track their own decline. You want to break that loop? Pick up the pen. Every night, without fail. This is how Stoic men build discipline. In silence, under the weight of their own words. So what does it look like? How does a Stoic journal? It's not complicated, but it is ruthless. Here are the 5 daily questions to ask yourself like a warrior. Where did I act like a coward today? Where did I win the inner battle? What weakness showed up? And how will I destroy it tomorrow? What distractions stole my focus? And why did I let them in? If today were my last, would I be proud of how I lived it? These aren't self-help prompts. These are tactical debriefings. This is your mental after-action report. You answer them every night. No excuses, no skipping, no sugarcoating. You write with blood. You write with fire. You write like your future depends on it, because it does. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations in the middle of war, between battles, under stress, facing betrayal, disease, and death. And yet, he still took the time to write things like, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I was made to do this, to work like a soldier." He didn't write affirmations. He wrote orders. That's what your journal must become. A command center, where you review the day, regroup, and reload for tomorrow. You want real confidence. It doesn't come from success. It comes from self-knowledge, from knowing exactly who you are and what demons you still carry, from watching yourself slip and knowing why you slipped, from documenting your flaws with brutal honesty and refusing to run from them. That's what journaling gives you, not motivation, mastery. Think about this. If you worked out every day but never tracked your progress, how would you know you're improving? You wouldn't. So why do you treat your mind any differently? Why do you let it drift, react, wander, without keeping score? Every day is data. Every win, every loss, every choice you made or avoided. And the man who tracks his mind owns it. Here's how to make it stick. Pick a time, ideally the last 20 minutes of your day. Use pen and paper, because screens are full of noise. Keep it raw. Don't write for anyone but yourself. Answer the 5 warrior questions, no matter what, end with a mission. 1 action tomorrow to fix what broke today. That's it. Do it for 7 nights and watch how differently you wake up. Do it for 30 and your mind will start obeying you. Do it for life and you will walk through storms with a calm no one can shake. Let me tell you something you already feel. Your mind is loud, your emotions are heavy, your direction is blurry, not because you're broken, but because you've never been still long enough to face them. Journaling gives you that stillness. It slows time, it creates space, it exposes the mess. And from that exposure comes control. Most men will avoid this. They'd rather scroll, they'd rather drink, they'd rather numb out than look in, because they're afraid of what they'll find. But a Stoic man, he walks into that silence like a soldier walks into war, not to be comforted, but to conquer. You want power? Write your thoughts down. You want clarity? Ask yourself better questions. You want peace? Earn it. Through discipline, through reflection, through brutal self-awareness. Because the man who journals like a warrior becomes one. You think strength is how much you can take, but real strength is how much you can resist. Any man can chase pleasure, but only a few can delay it, and even fewer can deny it when it serves no purpose. In this world of instant gratification, self-restraint is a superpower. You don't have to look far to see how soft the average man has become. He sees something he wants, and he reaches for it. No thought, no filter, no control. Scroll, swipe, click, eat, repeat. He's not leading his desires. His desires are leading him like a leash around his neck. But the Stoic, he holds the leash. He watches the craving rise and lets it burn. Not because he hates pleasure, but because he doesn't want to be owned by it. Seneca wrote, It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. This isn't about denying all joy. It's about owning your reactions, commanding your urges. A man who can delay pleasure is a man who controls the battlefield of his mind. Let me be clear. Pleasure is not the enemy. Lack of control is. The dopamine rush isn't evil, but needing it, chasing it, letting it own you every time it whispers. That's the root of weakness. That's how you lose your fire. That's how you become a puppet pulled by invisible strings. Because when every pleasure is within arm's reach, and you can't say no, you've already said goodbye to your power. You see, every time you say not now to pleasure, you add a brick to your fortress. You build the muscle that most men never train. Restraint. That's what discipline really is. Not doing hard things once, but choosing control when your whole body screams for surrender. You want to be respected? Be the man who doesn't need anything right away. Be the man who can delay, who can wait, who can walk through fire, but not flinch when comfort calls. Think about a soldier in battle. Does he chase comfort in the middle of war? Does he drop his weapon to grab a snack? Does he stop mid-fight to scroll, eat, or relax? Number, he fights, he bleeds, he endures. And then, when the job is done, he rests. That's the mindset you need. Because life is a war, and the battlefield isn't out there, it's inside you. Let me ask you, can you skip the junk food even when it's right in front of you? Can you ignore the messages and stay locked in on your mission? Can you go without comfort for a week, without breaking? Can you fast when your body screams? Can you save money instead of spending it to impress people? If the answer is no, then you know where the enemy lives. He's not out there, he's in you. Here's the truth. You've trained yourself to obey your cravings, not just once, but every day. You've rewarded yourself for weakness. Feel bored? Scroll. Feel lonely? Text her. Feel tired? Skip the gym. Feel sad? Order food. And you wonder why your will is soft, why your focus is weak, why your body is slow, your mind scattered, your soul heavy. Because you've never trained the muscle of restraint. But it's not too late. Because just like a muscle, restraint grows with repetition. You start small. Say no to sugar today. Say no to notifications for an hour. Say no to comfort in the gym. Say no to drama. Say no to cheap entertainment. Let the urge rise and watch it burn. Don't flinch. Don't collapse. Don't explain. Just resist. And in that resistance, you'll feel something return. A calm, a strength, a fire you forgot you had. Let me give you a weapon, the 1 hour rule. When you feel the impulse, pause. Don't react, don't indulge, don't run, just wait. Set a timer for 1 hour. If the craving's still there, fine, decide then. But most of the time it fades. Most of the time you realize it wasn't hunger. It wasn't need. It was just a mental itch, begging to be scratched. And you? You didn't scratch. You endured. You chose dominance over dopamine. The man who can delay pleasure is not boring. He's not robotic. He's not emotionless. He's dangerous because he's not ruled by emotion, not pulled by comfort, not shaken by impulse. He chooses. He commands. He moves when it's right, not when it's easy. That's stoic masculinity. That's inner power. And here's the best part. The longer you delay, the sweeter the reward becomes. Not because it feels better, but because you earned it. You built it. You waited. You became the man who deserved it. And that reward doesn't just give you pleasure. It gives you pride. Pride that no shortcut can buy. No impulse can fake. No weakness can reach. Start today. Pick one thing you crave and delay it. Not forever, just for now. Just to prove that you can. Just to remind yourself who's in charge. Track it. What did you crave? How strong was the urge? How long did you delay it? Did it lose power over time? Repeat that daily. And in 30 days, you'll become untouchable. Not because you never feel temptation, but because temptation doesn't control you. Marcus Aurelius didn't write, "Do what feels good." He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He didn't just mean thoughts. He meant urges, desires, cravings, needs. A Stoic man isn't a slave to anything, not lust, not hunger, not rest, not pleasure. He owns it all. He delays what doesn't serve him. He denies what makes him soft, and he walks through the world with silent fire in his chest. This is your challenge for the next 7 days. Delay one craving each day. Sit with the discomfort. Don't run track how you feel before, during, and after. Reflect each night on what you learned. Remind yourself. Restraint is power. Craving is slavery. Do it, not to prove it to others, but to prove it to you. Because when you train this muscle daily, you become the kind of man who walks into temptation and smiles. Because you know, it doesn't own you anymore. You do. Look around you. Every man in your life is either building you or breaking you. Every conversation is either sharpening your mind or dulling your edge. Every interaction is either fueling your fire or feeding your weakness. And most men, they surround themselves with cowards, with drifters, with emotional wreckage wrapped in a friendly smile. They call it loyalty, but it's not loyalty. It's fear. Fear of standing alone. Fear of confrontation. Fear of becoming the outcast in a group of weak men. You want to level up? Audit your circle with brutal honesty, with military precision, with zero mercy, because weakness is contagious, and if you don't cut it out, it becomes you. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those who you are capable of improving." Anything else? He called it a waste of time. A Stoic man doesn't keep useless company. He doesn't water dead plants. He doesn't share the battlefield with unreliable soldiers. He surrounds himself with iron, with men who speak truth, who push boundaries, who reject comfort, who sharpen each other like steel on steel. Let me make this clear. If you walk with lazy men, you will lose your discipline. If you walk with emotional men, you will lose your stability. If you walk with weak men, you will justify your own weakness. You can't rise if your environment is pulling you down. You can't think clearly in a storm of mediocrity. You can't become focused while your circle is distracted. You can't master silence when you're surrounded by noise. Most of you are held back by the people you refuse to let go of. You've outgrown them, but you stay. Why? Because of shared history? Because they were there for you once? Because you feel guilty? Here's a Stoic truth. Sentimentality is not strength. Strength is cutting what's no longer aligned with your mission. Strength is walking away. Not with hate, but with honor. You don't need enemies. You need space. Space to grow, to think, to breathe, to become. You say you want to evolve. You say you want discipline. You say you want fire. Then why are you surrounded by ash? By men who chase pleasure, by men who gossip, by men who fold under pressure, by men who fear discomfort and mock ambition. That's not a brotherhood. That's a cage. And every second you stay in it, you're betraying the man you're trying to become. You want to build a warrior's mindset. You need a warrior's circle. Men who tell you the truth, even when it burns. Men who live what they preach. Men who wake up early, train hard, speak less, and move in silence. Men who are dangerous. Not because they seek violence, but because they control themselves when most men crumble. You don't need 10 of them. You need 2, maybe 3. A circle that holds the standard, that bleeds it, that enforces it, without apology. Here's what most weak men do. They surround themselves with others who make them feel strong. Not because those men are strong, But because they're weaker, they feel like kings in a court of fools. Safe, comfortable, superior. But deep down, they know. They've built their confidence on a lie. Because real strength isn't about being the best in a weak room. It's about being challenged every day and still rising. Here's what to look for. Does this man sharpen my focus or steal it? Does he speak truth or comfort? Does he seek growth or excuses? Does he face his demons or feed them? Does he challenge me or coddle me? If the answer's wrong, you already know what to do. But what if I'm alone? Good. That's where every real man begins. Alone, in the silence, in the wilderness, cutting ties, burning bridges, refusing to lower the standard just to feel seen. Because being alone and strong is better than being surrounded and sedated. Solitude isn't punishment, it's purification, and the man who can walk alone will never be led by the weak again. Marcus Aurelius led an empire, but he still wrote to himself daily, still sharpened his own thoughts, still reminded himself, you're under no obligation to be the same man you were 5 minutes ago. Apply that to your circle. You're under no obligation to remain close to men who've stopped growing, to those who make weakness look normal, to those who would rather see you shrink than outgrow them. Cut them, respectfully, quietly, permanently. Here's the process. Audit. Write down every man you spend consistent time with. Assess. Are they aligned with your values, or are they drifting? Decide. Can they grow with you, or do they resist evolution? Cut or confront. If they hold you back, walk away. If they can rise, challenge them. Rebuild. Seek men with fire, men with discipline, men who move different. It's not easy, it's not comfortable, but neither is carrying dead weight through the war of life. Every man you keep close is either a shield or a blade. A shield protects you from truth. It coddles, it pacifies, it holds you back. A blade cuts through lies, it sharpens, it pierces, it demands more. Choose the blade. Every time. Because the man you become will be the sum of the men you train with. And one more thing, be that man for others. Don't just seek strength, be the standard. Be the man who shows up early, who doesn't flinch at hard truth, who lives the discipline he preaches, who inspires others to rise. Not because of words, but because of action. Lead in silence, cut the weak, build the circle, and protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. So now you know. You've been handed the truth, not in comfort, but in fire. You've walked through the silence. You've trained in discomfort. You've written in blood. You've killed distraction, not with tricks, but with brutal self-discipline. This wasn't a video. This was a mirror. And what you saw was the man you were, the man you're becoming, and the man you must bury if you ever want to rise. You were never tired. You were never broken. You were never incapable. You were just distracted, addicted, software. But now you have no excuse. You've been given the weapons. The choice is yours. Stay the same and rot in silence, or rebuild and rise in it. No more negotiating with weakness. No more scrolling through your potential. No more clinging to soft men, soft habits, soft thoughts. You've learned to cut the noise and master silence like a warrior monk. Move in silence and let action speak louder than approval. Win the morning and command the day like a general. Kill comfort and walk into pain without flinching. Fast from dopamine and reset the system that was poisoning your soul. Journal like a warrior and confront your demons with ink and fire. Restrain your impulses and hold the line when most men fold. Cut the weak and build a circle that bleeds purpose and war. This is no longer theory. It's your code now. It's your discipline. It's your new identity. There's no need to scream it. There's no need to post it. There's no need to explain. Just live it. Let your actions strike like thunder. Let your silence unsettle the loud. Let your energy shift the atmosphere when you enter a room. Because real men don't announce the rebuild. They become it. Remember this. Distraction doesn't die once. It's a war, daily. You'll wake up tomorrow and the enemy will return. Weaker, maybe, but still alive. And that's the point. The goal is not to reach some final level of control. The goal is to fight better each time, to sharpen the blade, to rise faster, to fall forward, to walk with scars, not shame. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. So live like it matters. Think like time is scarce. Act like your soul is watching every move. Because it is. No more wasted days. No more waiting for motivation. No more pretending that your fire will just reignite itself. You must strike the match. You must walk alone. You must rebuild in silence. One brutal, disciplined day at a time. And when it gets hard, good. That's the sign that it's working. That's the threshold. That's the growth. That's the point. Because from this moment forward, you don't just know Stoic habits. You live them, you breathe them, you bleed them. And if anyone ever asks what changed you, just say this: I killed distraction, I buried weakness, and I rebuilt in silence. Then walk away. Quiet, calm, and absolutely unstoppable.